Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, where we are once again untethered from our chairs and floating in space. Obviously, someone has not played Echo in a while and really wants to. So, I'm not Brad, that's not Josh, but I am Josh, and that is Brad. Well, welcome to our show. Have a great day. Bye.
And that was our quick version.
Now, we have some victorious news today. Well, a new release and news about the new release. Kind of. We have some highlights, I think, maybe. We have at least one upcoming title. And we have some news that's actually news that you may not have heard about, but you may have.
Probably
I don't know what you haven't and have not heard about, so.
You didn't get the memo? I got the memo. I'll let you know what they heard about. So.
Oh, okay. So, with no further ado, Brad, let's start with your not highlights.
My not highlights this week were trying to decide what game I would like to buy. The game prices are now exceeding my reach for my desire to increase my library as much as I would like to. And being that it's holiday time and there are unreported releases, which I see on the horizon as well,
Yeah.
I really held off buying games this week, which was a rough one because with Saints and Sinners coming out and then with Myst coming out, my highlights were really, like you're saying, lowlights because I want them. I want all of them, but I'm afraid to get Myst yet because that's one game that has bugs that I do not want to deal with. I mean,
we'll talk about this more later. But the only bug that I heard any details about it is the save bug, which is a significant bug. But
that lack of the journal inside of VR. I mean, talk about immersion breaking. I am going to have to keep notes and take off the headset or what? I mean, seriously, this is... How could it be released without having a journal that you can record to while you're in the game?
Well, the original one didn't have a journal in it.
The original one didn't have anything moving in it. The original...
No, it had animation. No, it had videos in there.
Let's just say that immersion breaking is different in this century than it was in the century in which the original Myst was produced.
I know. But I went and I found a video of the opening and the first little bit of the original Myst, and I showed that to my wife, and then I showed the opening and the first little bits of Myst in VR, and if you were in any doubt if it was the same game or not, it's the same game.
It's the same game. I mean, right. As one
updated graphics, obviously.
Right, but one person who wrote the review said you could already play Myst 3D. You know, it's already been made, and this is not much different at this point yet. The other problem that I'm having with it is that...
Let's save most of this for when we're actually talking about it in the new release section.
Okay. My other highlights were basically... I'm still enjoying Star Trek. That one I'm still enjoying a lot. I'm taking my time. I mean, Star Wars. I'm enjoying that one a lot. Really a lot. I didn't say may the Force be with you or live long and prosper.
May the Force be with you.
Exactly. And live long and prosper. No, I mean, basically, it's been a lot of reading this week because there seems to be a war going on inside of our little... I don't know if it's just our group or if it's in VR in general, but there's a lot of disagreement on all of the games that have been released over the last 2 weeks. So It's very hard for me to just get into highlights because I'm not supposed to be enjoying the games as much as I am. They don't live up to Ben's expectations, or some of them need a joystick, or so what can I say? That nothing really new has been released this week that caught me. I don't know. I don't know if it's me.
That you got caught up in?
Yeah, nothing that I just see everybody saying what they want for the holidays, all the games that they want to buy. I see all the disappointment with Medal of Honor, which is like,
Yeah, well, I mean, so some people are liking it as well. It's like, um, I think it all depends on what your expectations were. You know,
right. Well, I think Medal of Honor really hit and miss on a lot of what they hit on, they were great. What they missed on, they
right,
missed a mile. So I think
right,
that one's going to be, it's just huge. I don't know how big a fan base it could ever really get with the specs that they want you to have to be able to play it.
yeah.
I think they really, if you want a machine that can do that, then you might as well work for NASA. So,
I would
uh,
love to.
exactly, me too. But that's really, it's really quite, and the way that they say, and don't forget, you better have an SSD. It's like, okay, um, sure, I'll just sacrifice my entire life to play this game, which
Yeah,
seems to be, from all accounts, 5-minute cutscenes, 20
right.
minute loads,
Um,
and
yeah. Yep. I know. And we can go into more detail of it
right.
um, later on when we're actually talking about it in the very next section.
Well, I guess that's my problem, Josh, is that this week there were going to be so many highlights that I was looking
Mhm.
forward to,
I
really,
know.
and they're not.
Right.
And I guess that's the highlight of the week is all the highlights I was expecting to put on my brand new Quest 2, which is finally seen a few hours worth of use. They just seem to be rushing these games out, and all of them seem to be getting hot fixes and patches an hour after they're releasing them. It's kind of weird.
Right. Well, yeah. I I know what you mean. A little underwhelming. All this hype and then like the balloon slowly deflating.
Exactly. And so that's what the week was. I had a lot of highlights ready for you this week. And then as the week progressed, it was like, this is depressing. It was really not a great week for VR. It should have been like all of us dancing and, getting together and doing all this great stuff. And it's more of us sort of like saying what's going on here. And
Right.
then Germany tops it all off by going and suing Facebook.
Right.
And
Oh, yes. Yeah. That
that
we'll
was,
get into that more later.
so I'm just saying that don't come to me for highlights on this show. Yeah. You might
Right.
want to take over at this point if you have any highlights that can bring the people back up. Sorry, folks.
Well, one highlight that I had this week is I finally got to play Contractors VR now that it's officially out. The last I had played it was the beta version we were in still, which was completely different in many ways. Um, the release version you out in a big explorable outside space, and yeah,
Not a garage with
no,
basketball
no,
hoops.
no, it's not in the gun range so that the beta version started you out in. This is outside in a war-torn environment, crumbled buildings, fallen things all around you, and whatnot. And you can even spawn a little bot game and and all that. So, eh, and it's got new maps that I hadn't played yet as well before jumping in to the games. So it was fun.
Yeah, I have contractors too. I've been waiting to play with someone, but I haven't had my
Right.
schedule, I guess, has been off with jumping in with some other people. But it looks so much better than it did in beta. And in beta, it looked great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, I'd not be surprised to see this run to the top of the shooters pretty quickly. Uh,
Maybe. But don't forget, you have to use the joystick in it, which means it's bad.
No, it means you'll never. It means you'll never see Ben playing the game. So if you
Yeah.
don't want to run into Ben, that's the shooter you want to be in.
Actually,
Yeah, joysticks. What a terrible idea.
you're not going to run into him. It sounds like.
Uh, God, I know the joystick question. This is the question of the moment. Should joysticks be allowed in VR?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's come on, Josh. Highlights.
I know. You were just asking me. I had another one that was ready to go, but now I need to recall what it was. Well, while I'm trying to recall that one, I can talk about Population 1 and their winter event that is still going on for another couple days. I managed to get in with a squad this time, and within I don't know, 2 hours, the play session that I did, I earned 2.5 of the gun skins because you get an insane bonus when you're in a full squad of 3 that you have intentionally squatted up with.
Right.
But not a random squad, a friend-based squad, a squad of friends.
Squatters.
A frauder.
A frauder.
No, not a fraud, because that would give the wrong impression.
Okay, but squads of 3 friends.
Friend. But no, it's a lot of fun when you play with people that know what they're doing, when you play with random kids that are being yelled at by the moms. Fun.
That's what happens in Echo. I mean, this is. I know they really have to create an adults-only room or a friends-only room.
Well, I know Echo Arena did do that. I don't know. I haven't really heard how well that is working, but I know they broke it into 2 different lobbies.
Oh,
So,
really? I
yeah.
do know.
Yeah. So you have a choice of whether you are going to the competitive lobby where there's more serious players, or you're in the casual lobby where there might be shriekers.
Okay. Yeah, but competitive also means if you're not good, you're gonna get people that rank on you. So that's an interesting.
Right. Yeah, which is why I'm like, I haven't heard yet how well that is working out. I would imagine that it's probably working out a little bit better than the default one that they had before with everybody in the same lobby. But I really don't know.
I don't even, see, that's the problem. It's like when they're talking now about Solaris being fixed. I know we're jumping all over the place, but let's consider this the show. And somebody else mentioned, well, who cares? And I'm thinking, I read that they have the fix, and I didn't jump back in yet. If you wait too long to get that fix, you lost
the momentum, yeah.
And that's too bad, because I do want to try Solaris again, but there are other games that I've picked up since that I want to try more. So it's going to fall into the background.
Yeah.
And,
it's going to wait until the end of next year and then go, oh, yeah, I never jumped back in. Oh, man, it's dead in here.
And that's what happened with Dead and Buried 2, which I hold Facebook completely responsible for after having made such a big deal about it at the original release. And they just let it die. And it's still one of the better games on the system. And it has no player base except for, and this is why I doubt what's going to happen with Echo Arena, because the base it does have is so good that you probably won't survive more than 8 seconds if you jump into it now. It either has people that play it all day or play it at all.
Well, you can't die in Echo Arena, so you will survive the entire game.
Right, but it becomes, you know what I mean, just a different experience.
Right.
I'm hoping they get this all worked out. That's been my thing. Pop 1 was that when we were playing it in the beta version and we were playing it in the only serious people version, it was great. You could
Yeah.
jump in anytime and you were going to, whether you squatted up with friends or not, it was people that knew what they were doing or were serious.
Right. Until that last one, when they opened it up to everybody and said you have a chance to take key, and that's when we started getting people that had no clue because they'd never played it before.
Exactly. Exactly. And then now that it's for sale and they're advertising all these things and making squatting up such a big deal,
Right.
I'm really hoping that they keep it up because Pop 1, I have enjoyed that game probably
Yeah.
more than any other one game on the Quest.
Yeah.
And I would hate to see it fall victim to a Christmas rush of
Right.
young.
Well, their current skins that they got available for the winter holiday season
Mhm.
are pretty good skins. The only problem is that if you pick if you wear the female skin, you get unwanted attention.
I guess
Like,
that's a good way of putting
why
it.
you're walking around with a male voice, and people are still,
I know.
it's kind of ridiculous. So, anyways, the last highlight that I was gonna talk about for me was I was finally able to justify buying Tokyo Chronos because it was on a half off sale, so only $20 as opposed to $40.
And is it worth it?
Well, I have to go through what I already went through on the demo way back when, so I haven't gotten into the stuff that is new to me yet. But it is something that I enjoyed when I did it. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was worth $40 for me at the time. So
Right.
so yeah.
Um, but are you able to interact with it at all, or is it still just
Well,
really?
it's the same. So Tokyo Kana didn't change what kind of game it was. It's the same game that it has been, which is it is mostly just moving through the the story, but there are interactive elements, and you get to make choices, and you get to the different endings, the different outcomes, and all that. So,
Right. I can't seem to buy myself into the Chronos world. It's
so, and part of the reason I wanted to get it, aside from having wanted it in the first place, is I want to at some point do Alt Deus, which is in the same universe. I don't know if it's necessarily a
yeah,
sequel in the same universe,
and they make it.
and I feel that going in sequential order would help me make more sense of that game,
But it's
which is much more of a game. It's not you're inside of a manga slash anime. Alt Deus is more of a game. So,
right, right. I
and
guess
it's also $40.
I
So,
just I guess you really have to be into anime, which I never was heavily into anime.
I am into anime. When I was a, a, a kid, I watched Star Blazers all the time.
Um,
And other anime, like the Galaxy Express 39 and whatnot, classics of that time. And I watched Fushigi Yugi, Series Celestial Legend, Rurouni Kenshin, Tenchi Muyo, Ranma, Urusei Yatsura, etc. So yes, I like anime.
I was going to say either that or you're reading a Japanese menu that's in front of you and making everybody think you know what you're talking about. And I'll have mine with some extra oyster sauce, please. Um, yes, I get it. You're into anime. Got it. Um, yeah, okay. For some reason, and I guess we're going to see a lot more of that because it seems to be making a big hit over in Japan.
Right.
So we're going to see a lot more games coming out with that Japanese
Yeah.
style.
What I'm not really into though is the Hatsune Miku stuff. Just basically a dress-up doll in front of you that you can, you know.
I, I honestly, yeah, you're right. But I understand that I'm so not into anime that even though Rick and Morty that I love has branched into a section of anime, even that doesn't grab me yet. So I'll try, but remember for me, anime is Speed Racer and
What? Oh, it's a Speed
Speed
Racer. Yeah.
Racer and Gigantor. Those were the original animes.
Go Speed Racer, go!
And Tobor, the eighth man. So, that was anime. That was the original anime, and it was
Right.
awful, really, really awful. So I just,
Yeah. Yeah, some anime is just what?
exactly. Exactly. And it was always stupid. It was always, like somebody making a face and somebody saying something stupid, and then a close up of the face again, and somebody saying something stupid. It was just like, okay.
Yeah. Some anime though is really good, and in Japan, anime is on par with live action. They'll have anime office films, and they'll have the same reception that a live action box office would.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's okay.
And same for South Korea. They've got a lot of anime coming out of there too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I liked Last Airbender. I thought that was pretty good.
Well.
And I could see where, you could get into it to a certain degree. Once again, I think I'm just having problems with some of the games that they're putting on Oculus to get me into this particular.
Right.
And I also think that they could have introduced Tokyo Chronos at a lower price to begin with in sections.
Yeah, that would have been nice. If they had done that, I would have had it and gone all the way through it already.
Exactly. So I think that was probably a mistake on their part, not doing it Vader Immortal style.
Yeah. But anyways, I think it's time to move on to new releases. Let's start with near the beginning of the week. We had Warhammer 40,000, or 40k, whichever way you want to say it, Battlesister. It released on the 8th. And it looks okay for the most part. It got just a little bit of some mixed reviews. Not as many mixed reviews as Medal of Honor did, which we will talk about in a bit, but
it got basically good reviews
of a good game. But it's one that I'm holding off on myself. So.
Well, once again, and here, this is me just being me, I'm going to say it's very difficult to introduce a game and tell you how great it's going to be when the co-op version is released, but you're only releasing it in single player now.
Right. And the co-op is coming on that, I believe. But I think not until next year.
Right, but that's what they're advertising. It's like, just wait till you play co-op, and it's like, well, then why don't you release it when I get the wait? Once again, to the same thing. It's like, why am I buying the diminished version first?
Well, not the diminished, the solo version.
Okay, which appears to be
if you are not familiar with Warhammer Battlesister, it's kinda in some ways like a little bit of a Half-Life Alyx sort of storyline. You are on your way to rescue your Battlesister and all that, and go through the different environments, and you're on a quest to save a specific individual. But it's also kind of a little bit like Star Wars, in that you get faith powers, and you can hold out your hand and break an obstacle that's in your path, so that you can go through by the power of your faith. In other words, a force push. So
now you're going to get sued by Disney and Lucas.
Well, no, it's a similar concept.
Right, but nothing to do with force. Nothing.
No, it had nothing to do with midi-chlorians.
Ooh, midi-chlorians it is. Ooh.
But it also has nothing to do with finding lost pages of mysterious books, which leads us to Myst.
Well, yeah, I couldn't see where that segue was going, Josh. That was so well hidden in the conversation.
I know, right? Myst also released on the regular Hawker's Quest release date of Thursday. So, and it is Myst.
Incomplete. It is incomplete. That is the problem.
Yeah. It has some bugs and some oversights. The only bug that I've gotten any details on, and I have not bought the game yet, is that you can't save.
Right, so, you're going to run through Myst in one.
In a game like Myst, where you're probably not going to finish it all in one sitting, you need to be able to save and come back where you left off.
Right. and the other thing that they mention in the original Myst,
and this is an oversight, is there's no in-game way to jot down notes. The original Myst, you had people with a journal next to them on the table while they're playing, writing down clues they encountered and details, because 20 puzzles later, you would need that clue.
Mm-hmm. So now, what are you supposed to do? Because we're not talking about immersion breaking when you have to take off the headset and leave the planet and the structure you're in front of to jot down little notes and then put the headset back on. And I mean, seriously.
Well, yeah,
what do they think?
But I wouldn't consider that a bug. I would consider that an oversight. It's something that they didn't take into account. Because the original game, it didn't have an in-game journal either, but it wasn't inside of a headset. It was on a computer screen in front of you, so they expected that if you needed to take notes, you'd have a pad of paper next to you. So.
Gosh, that's sort of like saying that the original War of the Worlds was done on the radio, so when they did the movie, they just didn't add the visuals because they thought that
No, I wouldn't. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying this is not a bug, because this is not something that is in the game and not working right. Or that was in the game but is not in the game now. No, it's an oversight. It's not a bug. It's not something that's not working right.
But that's worse.
It is something that, had they thought about it a little bit more, they might have gone, oh, hey, maybe we should have a way for them to take notes inside of the headset.
Okay.
And that's an oversight. That's something they didn't think about. That's not a bug.
Right.
That's something that's not working right.
That's a design flaw. That's a major design flaw.
That could be another term for it too. It's a design choice that perhaps should have gone a different way.
Here's the thing. Basically, I'd like to play Myst, and I'd like to play it immersed, because that is the way it's going to be the best. And to not allow me to save, and to not allow me to write notes while I'm in this world, is giving me No real reason to participate yet. Okay.
Use the voice recorder.
Well, and that's exactly what I said when we were writing to each other on Discord, was that I would have to use like transcribe on my Pixel. But
Right.
I'm not going to say that that's immersion breaking, picking up your other device and talking into it while you're doing, let's
Well,
face it, it was a
I
design
don't know.
flaw.
Well, yeah, it was perhaps a bad decision, and maybe they'll set something back in if enough people are complaining about it, or maybe there are enough walkthroughs out there that people should get stuck. They'll just look up a walkthrough and I don't know.
I know. Once again, a little immersion breaking, unless the YouTube appears in Myst as a little window in the corner
Well,
of it.
no, I mean, just the way I would probably do it if I were doing that is I'd have a web page open, and just okay, it says that. Oh, I see that. That's over there. I wouldn't
Right.
have a video going because that takes too long. And then you have to pause and rewind and pause and rewind and pause and rewind. I
Right.
prefer written walkthroughs.
Now, I'm saying that I'm glad that they brought a game like Myst to the Quest, and I just wish that they had brought it complete to the Quest so that it
Well,
could have been an
yeah,
elevated experience as opposed to a hybrid experience.
yeah. Well, yeah, it would be nice to have some paper in there to take notes on, or even to just make paper birds from, which was another new release.
$4.99.
How would that segue?
That was actually much better. I didn't see it coming until half a second in, so I didn't see it running down the tracks. Yeah, Paper Bird looks interesting, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
and it's a very affordable price. It's almost like Oculus Go or your VR title price.
It is, but it's also a 20-minute game, which is
Yeah. Yeah, but the 20-minute experience brought to you by the maker of Gloomy Eyes.
which did get good reviews.
Yeah,
Gloomy Eyes, a
yeah. I
ball
mean,
of
it looks really good, and for $5, I think that's not too much for this experience, being only a 20-minute experience. I'm probably not going to get it though, but
I keep looking at it, but
yeah,
it's sort of like, honestly, I'm back to looking at Saints and Sinners because it seems like everything else that they're coming out with, it's that or Warhammer. And Warhammer looks very familiar in its gameplay as far as first-person shooters go.
right, yeah, yeah. But back to Paper Bird real quick. If you have not heard of it, because it got overshadowed by Myst and Battlesister and Medal of Honor and Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, just a few unheard of names.
The Paper Bird tells the story of Toto, a child with an exceptional talent for music. He must find his way through the darkness to bring back his sister, taken away by her shadow. That sounds very Jungian there. Follow him as you step into a miniature toy-like town to confront his grandfather and reveal the truth about the mystery of the paper birds.
Bum, 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 bum.
Dun dun dun!
Now, the problem is you won't know where the rest of the mystery goes until sometime in Q21 2021 or possibly Q2 2021. So you get to enjoy this 20-minute intro, which you'll have no idea what happened when you go back to buy the rest of the experience in 6 months. But it looks interesting. And like I said, Gloomy Eyes got a good review. I would think a good thing for them to do would probably be to release this along with Gloomy Eyes.
And yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, speaking of that victory, let's move on to Medal of Honor.
And moving on. Dang
Victory! Continue.
You didn't really say dang it when you jumped out without the...
What?
When that person jumped out of the airplane without their
No. I was pretending that was the game engine thought process.
Gotcha. Medal of Honor.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we're both going in the same direction. You're going to be much nicer, so...
Well, okay. In that case, Medal of Honor has some mixed reviews. But basically saying that it's getting a lot right, but it's getting a lot wrong as well. And its immersion is broken up constantly by the victory screens, because it's more like it's a 6 or 7 chapter story, and each chapter has broke up into multiple scenes, as chapters are. But after each scene, instead of going smoothly into another scene, you have a victory poster pop up, and you click continue, and then it moves on to the title of the next scene, and a loading screen and all that, and then you're in a completely different environment and doing another task and whatnot. And some of the scenes early on are just that there's a little bit of dialogue, and you take one step forward and victory. Continue. Wait. Title of next screen. Okay, I'm in it. Oh, now I get to shoot a German. Oh, victory. So,
right.
It kind of, interrupts you to getting momentum going in the story.
As I said, you would be the nice one. The other people I've been reading to have not referred to it as such. They've more referred to it as horror at the load times in order to be able to, as you say, participate. Well, you don't even participate in the dialogue. You listen to a monologue for, a couple of minutes, and then load. Yep. Okay, take a shot.
Depending on your system, the load times aren't necessarily very long. I was watching the Gamertag's live stream and ZimTalk5's live stream, and both of them, their load time weren't too long in between scenes most of the time. So that's one. Well, at least it's not that long. They are still there though. And as you get further in, as you get into mission 2, and the scenes are longer, you have fewer and fewer of the victory screens. However, there are some things where it's like the Gamertag did a scene in mission 2, one of the first really long ones, and at the end of it, he had to get from a moving motorcycle with sidecar to the ladder on a train. Well, he grabbed the ladder, but it didn't look like he grabbed the ladder, so he was trying again, and then victory. And he was like, "What the?"
Yeah,
he got caught up in the story, and then it was interrupted.
Right, and that's what we call immersion breaking. It's
exactly. But what they do get right, they get right. Like the weapons, most everybody is complimenting them on the weapon, and the weapon reloading being just realistic enough, but just arcadey enough to not interrupt the flow.
Mm.
You know, so and so I'm like, I haven't played it, so I don't know firsthand, but it sounds to me like they got the weapons pretty much right. And when they get action scenes going, they are action scenes. There's one scene where you're riding in that motorcycle and you're just mowing down everything in your path. You're the sidecar person, and your job is to just shoot everything that's in your way.
Right. Oh no, look, it was guaranteed to have some good moments.
Yeah.
The thing is that if you're going to interrupt them and you're going to put demands that they put on you to have the type of device you need to play it.
Yeah. Right now, I would say if they hold off on buying and see if they fix the game, because $60 is expensive, and I know that it's a different price on Steam than it is on Rift. I think it's like a $10 difference, but still, either way, it's an expensive game. And if you don't have the system for it, or if you have a lower end system that can maybe barely run it in low graphics mode, I don't know.
Right.
You are the one that best able to make that decision, but me personally, I would not get it, and I'm not getting it. I was looking forward to it, but the price combined with the reviews is making me go, nope, not getting it.
Not only that,
not right now.
And those reviews are coming from people with systems that are running it on full blast. So, and they tell you right in their review, that you have to run it on an SSD, and that they're not saying you have to run it with these specs. You can run it on lower specs, but you might not get the same gameplay experience. Right. And here you are complaining about the gameplay experience to begin with on a super high-end system, and they're saying, well, yeah, you could play it, and it won't be quite as good as that. So I'm trying to figure out who's the winner here, other than the guy that's collecting money for the game.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I've got to say, I am a little bit disappointed in it. I was hoping for a much more solid title from it, and those 80 and whatnot. There was a little bit of a misprint about that. Technically, that's not the minimum, so that's the recommended.
Right.
But the minimum is going to be a bare bones minimum.
And if you don't use the recommended, you're going to get frame stutter and you're going to get problems. So
right. So, and yeah, I'm just. They said if they can bring it to Quest, they will. As the game is right now, I don't see how it's going to be able to come to Quest, because each and every of those little cutscenes uses different assets.
To me, my big thing when to come to the Quest, it's like when
it's got 30 gigabytes of interviews and videos as well.
No, to me, I'm still waiting for it to come to PC VR. Working and ready, much less coming to the Quest. It's like, let's get it ready for PC, and then we'll talk about getting it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to hold my breath about it coming to the Quest natively. If they can pull it off, great. It may be that they bring only the multiplayer to the Quest. The multiplayer is getting better reviews than the single player, especially the Mad Bomber mode, which looks fun, and honestly reminds me of playing GoldenEye with my brother way back when on the Nintendo 64. We had the multiplayer, split screen thing going on, and he and his friend and me would all be playing together, and we were playing on, I forget the name of the map, but the map that's in the caves and the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And on that map, you have proximity mines. So I would run through the tunnel, throw the mines everywhere, and then get up on a ledge where I can see the opening of the tunnel, pull out my sniper, aim it at one of the mines, and keep my eye on my brother's screen or his friend's screen for when they were approaching the other end of the tunnel, and go, okay, blow up the mine closest to me because of the chain reaction going down the tunnel.
It's a good strategy. I like it. If I ever go back to an N64, give it a shot. Oh God, what else? Give me new games. New games.
Well, that's all that I have for the new games that came out this week. There were probably more, but that's all we've got on here right now. There's always a lot more.
We gave up on reviewing Go games, but it seems like every developer that had one put it out before the end of December.
Yeah, they're like, let's get it out now.
Right, like 40.
Get the money from it now.
So if you have a few bucks and you have a Go and you want to buy like 40 games for the same price as Medal of Honor, go ahead, get your Go out and load her up.
Yes. So moving on to upcoming releases, as we mentioned last week or the week before, we have Ven VR coming out on Rift on December 17th. And we have Ragnarok VR on Steam coming out in early access on December 17th. Right. And Right the Eye of Atlantis, I forgot, was supposed to have been out so this week. I completely forgot about it. So I have not checked that out at all.
Well, we're waiting to see which patch, hotfix, or problem that one came up with at this point. So
yeah. But there is another game that we think may be coming out next week because it was promised to be coming out just before Christmas, which means next week, because if it comes out after that, it'll be coming out on Christmas. Jurassic World Aftermath. So,
I don't know how to feel about that. How are you looking forward to it?
I'm probably not going to get it. I'm not really a fan of that cartoony style. I'm sure it'll be a fun enough game. That takes a lot of the tension away, making it look like cel-shaded cartoons.
I don't understand why they did. I really had no clue. When I saw it, it was like, why? Why like it?
Maybe it's more performant for them to have flatter textures, or maybe in their initial testing they found that the more realistic look was too intense for some people. I don't know.
I love the way you look for gold in a mine full of dung. But yeah, that's possibly
well,
it.
yeah, I have no clue, but obviously a decision was made at some point. I don't know why.
Right. And I did not buy this system to play cartoons. I understand that you have to do some things with cell shading and there are certain give and take, but this just looks like out and out playing a DC.
Yeah. This honestly looks like one of those filters that takes you and makes you look like a drawn, a sketched.
Right.
And they never turn out looking like an actual sketch. It just looks ugly.
Exactly. It goes into the uncanny. It's just not. I don't like it either. I'm not a fan of that style.
Now, if it were an actual full-on cartoon, like Tokyo Chronos is, obviously, if it were an actual full-on cartoon, that'd be a different story.
Right.
But this halfway in between, it doesn't really appeal to to me. Excuse me.
Well, unless the gameplay is absolutely unbelievable and everybody starts giving it 5 stars and saying, "Wow, did I underestimate where this was going to go?"
Right.
I don't really have any interest.
Lies Beneath, which has a similar look, although I think it did a little bit better job on the look than Jurassic World appears to so far.
Yeah, so
from
far.
what we have seen.
Yeah.
So, but Lies Beneath also went whole hog on the comic book look by having comic book pages, comic book narration, having comic book the sound effects like pow, and the balloon comes up and whatnot. So, there was supposed to be you are in a comic book.
Right. They went full on comic book.
Right.
Which is okay. Like I said, this other one is the hybrid just doesn't really work.
Right. But when you remember to drag your friends over and get them to like and subscribe, please also have them comment about why we are wrong or right about what we are saying about.
Oh yeah, we definitely want to know for sure. We want your feedback on all of these games because occasionally we might be wrong. I know. Doesn't happen often. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if it ever actually happened, but
if it did, we deny it.
No, let us know. We'll discuss it amongst ourselves and let you know whether we think you were right or not.
So, moving on to news, we had a big reveal at the Video Game Awards from Oculus. It was month-old trailers.
I'm waiting.
Or trailers.
Yeah, trailers.
I don't know. I'm not sure why I said it like that.
It was ridiculous. I have no idea why they did that. It was...
Yeah, I think it was probably people reading into what they wrote, because when I looked back and I never saw anything from Oculus that's talking about late breaking news or whatever. Just that, hey, tune in, VR takes center stage. And well, yeah, VR game were getting awards. So, and it could be that's all that they meant, and that's all that they meant to say that they meant, but people read into it.
Right, exactly. Well, they made it seem like it was going to be a big deal, and it wasn't.
Right. So, but Resolution Games is bringing Demio in 2021.
I can't make out what it's going to really be. I love the graphic look. I just have no idea what the game is going to be. It sort of sounds like Dungeons and Dragons, but they can't carry that look. I don't know.
Well, it's a turn-based dungeon crawler RPG that zeroes in on the tabletop gaming experience, and it includes dice that you can roll and incredibly detailed miniatures with abilities and spells and whatnot. But the trailer kind of indicates that you're not looking down at a trailer.
You're on the board.
You're actually in there with them.
Right.
So I'm not sure if it's, but because it's also set to launch on flat screen, Road to VR speculated that it may be more of a tabletop gaming experience, but yeah, I don't know if it's got a campaign and a story in it, or if it's a tool for a game master to set up a game in, or
right. I'm getting no feel.
We don't know a whole lot about it yet.
Exactly. It just looks really cool. The trailer looks great because it looks like you're on the board. The dice are coming at you. If this is really how it is, then it is like being in Dungeons and Dragons. Right. But then you don't see the board and you're not the drug. I don't know. We'll see.
You're not the drug. What?
You're not the dungeon master.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Were you slept or something? Anyways, moving on to other rather big news. Facebook lawsuits. There's a federal lawsuit from the FTC, and there are several states engaging in a lawsuit, and now Germany has
48.
jumped in as well.
48 states are in the
Yeah,
lawsuit, as well as the federal government, as well as Germany, which means
yeah,
how
and
hard.
it's all mostly over Instagram and WhatsApp.
No, it's also
Well,
with
those are the two big things at the outset.
right.
I mean, it's more than that, obviously, but the other ones that were mentioned early on.
And now they're also going into the whole signing into Facebook in order to be able to use your Oculus headset.
Yeah. So, while I would not mind going back to an Oculus account and all that, and having it be separated from the Facebook a little bit that way. What I hope does not happen, and I know there are people out there that will vehemently disagree with this, but I hope it does not happen that they have to divest themselves of Oculus, because without Facebook behind them, I don't know that Oculus would be able to keep up what it has been doing.
I believe that there's two problems. Number one, there's one basic problem. That's the fact that it's all linked to a social media platform, which has bought up all of the other social media platforms.
Right.
So,
well, it hasn't bought Twitter yet.
well, like you say, yet. And the other thing is that, but Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, those are enough.
Right.
So, plus the privacy issues that it raises in Europe all the time to begin with. I think at this point they might have bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would hold on to Oculus, once again, separate it, but hold it as just a separate division.
Yeah.
And if they did that, I think they could move away. But their whole idea is to integrate VR with the social platform, which would be totally the antithesis of what's happening right now in the courts.
Right.
So,
at the same time, I can understand their goal there, because it would make sense in a lot of ways to have the social aspects of the VR platform tie in with an existing social platform, because that provides the underlying structure that's already there, all the underlying mechanics, and it makes a lot of sense in many ways. However, that I can also see how that's considered monopolistic, and
I was going to say,
it's got the privacy issues, and I mean, in my own family, my nephew, who is the same age as my son, has a Quest, and he's been having issues with his email and his Facebook account. He's under 13, so technically, per their terms of service, he's not allowed to have an Oculus account. But on their social platform, Facebook, they have Facebook Kids accounts. So why he shouldn't be allowed to connect those two, I don't understand.
Yes, you're right. There should be an access, like free time, I would imagine, in Kindle, where you allow your child to have access to a certain rating of game. Well, they don't really rate their games either, and I guess they would have to, and I guess that would create an entire new structure that people could complain about.
Right, and it. I mean, while I can understand Facebook's goal in unifying everything, at the same time, I think it would be better to have them just separate. Have an Oculus account that's an Oculus account that you can choose to link with your Facebook account or not, and have Oculus be a wholly owned subsidiary instead of merged.
Exactly. It's very simple. It's like if you had a television that only worked with one cable provider, there would be very few people that would buy that one television. And we
True.
have that same system now going with Oculus. So
Right.
now, not only do they want you to buy their headset and buy from their store, they're allowing you to use other stores but
Hmm.
for how long? I mean,
And you have to jump through a couple hoops,
exactly.
as it were. Um, I had a thought there while you were just saying, right. And at the same time, they are kind of at odds with themselves as well because they are recommending, and I'm sure it'll soon move to requiring, that developers use OpenXR.
Exactly. So the more they
But
require,
if they're going to remain a closed market because they're merging and merging and everything's becoming Facebook, why do we need OpenXR? and if you're going OpenXR, why are you consolidating everything as Facebook?
there seems to be, like you said, divisions within Facebook itself as to what direction they'll. Well, just look at the division with Carmack. I mean, Carmack is the
Right,
one who really led them into VR, and they're ignoring him now when he's telling them what to do.
right.
So we're obviously not, it's like the guy from Solaris that was going to revolutionize the way we play VR, and we did. We got rid of the guy that developed Solaris. Um, it's just too weird the way things are going right now, and I think Facebook really does have to back off. And I think Zuckerberg has stepped on a
Yeah,
few too many toes at this point, which would be evidenced by 48 attorneys
yeah,
general, as well as the Department of Justice and Europe saying no. That,
right, yeah.
that seems to be a
Yeah,
lot.
and I mean, I feel bad for the German members of our MVR Discord because they had to order it from France to get it,
Right.
the Oculus Quest 2. You know?
It was ridiculous. And
Yeah,
and still, what problems will they have internally in
I
Germany
know.
with
Yeah,
their IP and
right.
I don't know
Yeah,
where it'll go because Facebook might be like the guy that wants to revolutionize everything. And
you can
okay,
only play VR if you are one-handed.
right, and it has to be the correct hand.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on from that, I mean, we'll just have to see where all
All
the
of this
settles
fall,
out, where all the dust settles, and
right?
yeah.
I think
But moving on, we have Curators app. This is an app that is coming, and it is going to provide virtual tours within VR. Kind of like a replacement for Google Expeditions. So,
okay.
is the impression that I am getting is, according to their Twitter description of themselves, a platform for social cultural virtual tours, brought to you by Co-op Innovations, who understand that the most engaging experiences are shared. So
True.
they
There's
have, yeah, currently they have a demo museum and a few partners that signed up, and they're actively seeking projects partners. And the idea is that it will be live guided cultural tours, because it's one thing to go to a VR museum and just wander around and look at everything, but without a curator there, you don't get as much out of it because there's no one explaining the history of it to you.
well, there's two things they've done this before,
Mm.
and it didn't really work out well. And number two, in National Geographic, they sort of give you the AI curator.
Right. Yes.
So
Yeah.
it can be worked around. So
Yes.
I don't know that
So
this is necessary, but it might be good. We'll see.
right, and I mean, it could also be that they're like, You know what? We're a bunch of museum curators that have no job now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they'd rather get paid by the hour than by the one description that'll be played for a million
Right.
years on the AI. Right.
Right.
That's how I see it.
Right. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Under Presents came up with The Tempest.
Which they
They
canceled,
were
and now I think they
employing
want to.
actors.
And
Huh?
they stopped it. They stopped the shows for a while, but I don't know why. It was a
They
great
brought it
idea.
back up again, and yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it was originally going to be a limited time run, so
Right. Well, so was COVID. So it's.
So, anyways, John Michael Jarre is coming back to VR Chat for a New Year's Eve concert at Notre Dame.
Uh-huh.
And Frame is no. No. If you are looking for something to do on New Year's Eve, I'm sure that will be fun. It might also be very frame droppy, depending on your platform of choice's ability to perform. I would hazard a guess that it would not be available on the Oculus Quest. It'll probably be PC VR only. As there will probably be lots of lights and particles and live video feeds and whatnot. So you'll need to visit it on your computer.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to get dropped. Like, there's going to be people jumping in and out, and that's going to mess with the servers. And be prepared.
And you may even see everybody except for the video part. All the avatars going. And only when you look away do they move. I have seen a couple VR chat to concerts that were like that, because there were so many people with such heavy avatars in there that everyone was just frozen.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, it happens. You have to be aware.
Yeah. But now moving on. Frame is a browser-based education app. Blah, blah. It is a new or another contender for the online education arena. It allows you to hold online classes in a virtual 3D space for free, right from the browser on your desktop, mobile, and VR. So it's kind of like Mozilla Hubs.
Hello, right? Somebody reinvented Hubs and didn't call it Zoom.
Kind of makes the sense that someone was going to step in, because Hubs is on its last legs, if I remember right. So a lot of them were let go or whatever. So, but yeah, it looks from the screenshot that they have on their webpage, it looks very similar to Hubs. You can load in environments, you have avatars that have your name over them, and so.
Well, look, the rest of the world is trying to move into VR after what's happened this past year. They realize that it's a good place to inhabit, and for them, all of this is new. It's nothing that we haven't experienced. It's just the rest of the world sort of catching up to. I go, wow, we could do this.
I have nothing against it. It's just, it's a Mozilla Hub clone, just basically, but it's aimed at being an education as opposed to just anything.
Right.
So, although I'm sure you can use it for just anything.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they're not going to have a script running it in the background going, "This is a business meeting? We're shutting it down."
Right. Everybody, the cops are coming. Run.
Yep. The popo. So, speaking of hot dogs, though, which we weren't, hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades is getting an update every day until Christmas as a VR advent calendar.
No, we didn't freeze. We're just commenting.
So, so interesting way of doing an advent calendar. I kind of think I prefer VR Rosie's way.
Yeah, I would say so. It's okay. They're trying. What are you going to
Yeah.
say? Next year there'll be a different attempt. It's still better than Jurassic Park. Move on.
Okay. So on side quest we have boxing coach. I put this on there, even though it's not a new app or even necessarily news. It was news to me because I didn't know about it until it popped up in my Twitter feed after I saw a conversation on
Really.
the Oculus Quest 2 Facebook group, and then I brought it into our MVR Discord group, and I was discussing with Michael about the viability, basically, of throw of the fight as a training tool in boxing. And we eventually both agreed, despite our language barriers of him being English as his second language and sometimes misunderstanding me, but and of me using more words than I need to sometimes. But basically, yeah, it can be a training tool because it's like shadow boxing, which is the time-honored self-training method.
Right.
So, and boxing coach is exactly what it sounds like. If you want to look into it, you can find it on Side Quest. Is called Boxing Coach. Easy enough to remember.
Right.
And you have a person up on a platform in front of you demonstrating the moves, and you to follow along with the moves. You know, do an uppercut, twist to an uppercut, do a hook, do a jab. And it describes itself as a professional aerobic boxing VR fitness game. There are 23 boxing moves, 54 combinations of actions, and a long-term training plan with gradually increasing difficulty. So, and it's got real coach teaching. So all the coach's movements are captured and generated by motion capture of actual professional coaches. And it's got a customized training plan, which is automatically generated, but customized based on the information you give it. And it provides tracking, calories consumed, exercise number, charts, and all that. So it looks like it could be a pretty solid box coach app, even if they were kind of unoriginal in the naming of it.
Yes, sort of. Well, there's Fit VR and Tai Chi, so we're not exactly going for creativity. Not everything is let's go chopping.
So, but yeah, it looks like it's probably a pretty solid app. I have not tried it out yet, but I just thought it was really coincidental that it showed up on my Twitter feed after I was talking about boxing training in VR.
Right, it has nothing to do with them reading your posts. Nothing at all. These are not the droids you're.
No, I didn't make any post on Twitter about it.
No,
I read it in the Facebook, and I was talking about it in Discord.
Facebook. I see Facebook.
Yeah, but supposedly they don't share stuff with Twitter. But who knows? Anyways.
Moving right along.
Big Brother is always watching.
Always.
Our last bit of news is waiting for Godot. No. The Godot engine gets a grant from the Facebook Reality Lab to develop more VR features in the Godot engine. So,
which may be a good thing and maybe nothing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I know there are fans of the Godot engine. I personally haven't really used it at all, so I can't really to comment on what it's like as an engine, but I think wasn't Throw of the Fight made with it, or I don't know. I seem to remember there was a VR app on the Quest or Quest 2 that was made with the Godot engine.
Right. But I guess it's going to be what gets adopted and what gets used because there's a few different engines right now that are really in use. And
Right.
whichever one is going to be able to go
Yeah.
cross-platform the easiest, I think, is going to be the winner, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to supplant Unity or Unreal. I really don't think that's going to happen.
Mm.
However,
Hey, give it a shot.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with learning a new engine because the more you learn, the more you know, and the more skills you can bring over in a cross-disciplinary way.
Right. I was
You
going
know?
to say other features show up in
Yeah.
different engines that could be derived from these. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to take over the world, so probably, unless some miracle happens.
Right.
But, you know,
The headlines tomorrow: Godot rules world is not.
yes.
We'll find
Wait
out.
for Godot no more. It's here.
No more waiting. Exactly.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting news. That actually was late breaking because I saw what last night it popped up or early this morning. So
That was late last night.
yeah. So it's late breaking news.
Late breaking news.
Late breaking news.
Yes, Wolf. Late breaking news.
So, anyways, that brings us to the end of our show. So, once again, like, subscribe, drag your friends that I can subscribe, which are down there somewhere.
Somewhere. And whatever you do, no Medal of Honor this week. Tell us if we're wrong about something. Myst, get your stuff together so we can buy a copy. And everybody have a great weekend.
Yep.
And we'll
have fun. Have fun getting ready for Christmas or the last half of Hanukkah or whatever holiday you are celebrating. Bye.